As you can see, the forces of the bad guys, I guess, the evil people, have come to take our city. We will not let them take it lightly. Welcome back, everyone, to Rome 2. We are back, and this one is a 3 versus 3 on the settlement of Pulpadeva. And this one is a decently quick battle, so that can a lot of times mean that it might be a little bit lopsided, but it also means that there could be some just really interesting play. You know, not every battle has to be an hour long, right? So, I'm intrigued to see what happens. This is going to be interesting, and I hope it's good. You know, I always like to, see some juicy plays. So, for the attackers, we have got Seleucid being commanded by LM TLCell. And now we're on the settlement of Pulpadeva. I think I said that. Seleucid attacking this long stretch of wall here. But the rest of his allies, the two other people playing for the attackers, are all the way over here. So we've got Rome being commanded by Juice? Not sure how to say that. Jusze. We've got Egypt being commanded by Rob Leach. For the defenders, though, we have got Carthage being commanded by Harry. We've got Pontus being commanded by Hannibalic, I think is how do you say it? And finally, the person who's sent in this game, we've got Gete being commanded by the Coochie Monster. So, interesting setups here. Obviously, so Pontus, we've got scythe chariots. We've got quite a bit of cavalry from Pontus. Interestingly, from Rome, we've got gladiators pushing up a tortoise, which is not usually a good idea. I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't lose more men. I think that the Eastern Archers were using fire shot on them, which, by the way, is just not worth it. Really, look at this. Yeah, they're using fire shot, and I really don't know why. Fire shot really is only good if you're trying to kind of affect the morale of somebody, or maybe you're trying to burn something. So earlier, they tried burning the ballista for Gete, and it is a very risky thing. It doesn't always work, so you got to be careful with that. You can sometimes lose quite a bit of your archers, doing that kind of thing. We've got a bunch of Syrian archers here from Seleucid. I'm not a fan of attacking by yourself like this. It's rough, and actually I'm a little surprised. Typically what happens when you attack by yourself is you get double teamed. Usually what I see is that you'll have the defenders will stack you up with extra units from another faction and just overwhelm you, right? That's not what's happening here. We just have a straight up Gete versus Seleucid. So we'll see how that goes. It's just a heads up, 1v1, no angles or things like that to exploit on either side. Now, interesting look at this. Usually this is a big no-no. We've got Pontus here. Oh, wait, no, never mind. I thought these were all pikes. I was like, wow, okay. No, we've got two bronze shield pikes, which are really, really good pikes, especially for their price. And then we've got a bunch of hoplites. But I'm not sure that I like this move. Well, maybe now. So we've got Carthage moving up too, so maybe it's okay. But they were kind of, advancing all by themselves. And pikes in a big open place like this is just not usually what I suggest. I kind of like this. We do have Scorpions moving up. I think what he's going to try and do, and this is a good move, is try and come right down this line. He goes through the Hastati, or no, Legionary Cohort. I thought it was Hastati, but it's, if I paid attention, I would know. Legionary Cohorts, you got to keep these guys moving. You got to move. If you just stand here like this, your side chariots are just going to die. Got Archer Fire coming in. Looks like Mercenary Syrian or Auxiliary Syrian Archers coming in. Side chariots, really not getting a whole lot. Yeah. Gotta keep those side chariots moving. That's the only way you're going to get good kills on them. Really, I didn't catch what kills they got. I don't think it was much. What they should have done is they should have taken those side chariots right down the line All these units that were engaged in the combat, they're ripe and just, you know, sitting ducks for those chariots. Chariots by themselves, if you are disengaged, they are not that scary because Javies are an excellent defense against it. The Gima Cab charging into the breach, straight into this. Not a big fan. You got Silver Shield Swordsman in here fighting against some Falksmen. But that basically just means that a Gima Cab just charges right into the back of the Silver Shield Swordman, which is definitely not what you want to be doing. Charging in the back of your own men, it just isn't useful. I know I preach it all the time, but if I don't preach it, nobody's ever going to learn from it. It looks to me like Salukin here is using formation attack. See how this unit, these guys are not kind of, you know, folding in on that unit? That's why. And typically, majority of the time, you want to turn that off. It's just a little button you click when you select your unit. It says formation attack, turn it off. It'll allow your entire unit to kind of engage the enemy. I don't like this already. No, just don't. So he's going to charge right here, which I guess is, well, I guess not. Never mind, he's not charging. Looked like it was going to charge right in. Oh no, you got your pikes all out of formation. Remember, like I said, this is not what we want to do with our pikes in this big open area. If you can keep them supported like you did, right? You had stuff on their flanks, great. But look at this, pike is all the way out here. There's nothing there with it. This pike is way out of position too. Its closest support is all the way back here. And unfortunately, by coming up and defending this, you have all these archers that come up here and start to shoot into your back lines. They kind of have a little bit of a defense, right? They've got the Cretan archers up here. Hopefully that'll be enough. Got 17 kills on the Pontic Royal Cav. This is not where you use your cavalry. This is where you use your cavalry. I like that move. I don't know exactly how he got there. I don't know if he took this route right here. I missed it. Turn off fire shot. It's useless. You're not helping yourself at all. And I think you have fire at will on as well, which is, once again, not useful. Fire shot literally is useless. It just isn't worth it. Now, fire shot right there from the artillery, sure, I'm fine with that. Here we go. Yes, Pontic Royal Cav getting into the Cretan archers. They may not be able to break them, but they should get some good kills. Any kills on archers is good kills. Obviously, you would want to get like a, you know, really solid kill count on these, but, you know, it's still a pretty solid match. I would not have gone here. I would have taken this right here. You had the opening. It was a perfect shot. You should have gone right for it. Going into that infantry. Sorry, I had to sniff. That's why I kind of cut off there for a sec. Going into that, not a good idea. You know, you should have gone straight into these archers. You probably, with that full unit of Pontic Royal Cav, probably would have broke them. Now, because of the lack of continued push from Rome here, Pontus is actually going to take this back. Rome is way far away, and he's not continuing to support, right? You send in that first wave of units, and all by themselves, that isn't enough. Your artillery is now shooting your own Roman troops. Why? Rome needs to attack. Egypt is kind of like, you know, he still has units still in the combat, but Rome has to put pressure here. Now on the other side, we have Seleucid still putting good pressure here. We've got Thorough Spears, Silver Shield Swords, Thorax Swords. Over here, it looks like some Noble Swords are getting the better of a Royal Peltist. You got Armored Spears as well. The Spears really aren't worth it, I'm going to tell you that much. Noble Swords have a Chevron, but not very many kills, so I'm going to bet they probably Chevron their units. Dacian Heavy Bows, 176 kills is pretty good. The armor, or the Silver Shield Swords, excuse me, Silver Shield Swordsmen are just kind of getting attacked by this Dacian Heavy Bow. But it looks like they're trying to kind of flank this Noble Sword here. Problem is the Noble Sword defeated the Thorax Sword that was there, so now that Noble Sword is just going to be able to turn around. Here we go, Armored Spears are actually going to break here, it looks like. The Noble Swords actually are very, very hurt. This Royal Pelta should probably just turn around and engage over here. It is looking like it's getting shot up by some Dacian heavy bows. As so far, this is not looking too hot for Seleucid. Does look like this attack is basically just getting overwhelmed by the Noble Swords, which are a really solid high-tier unit. Here we go, Rome finally coming in. Eventually, Armored Legionaries, excuse me, coming in. They're a bit late, man. They took a lot of losses to these Pontic units because the Roman units that were here were not well supported. So typically, my suggestion is, as your units are breaking down these walls, your army should be getting ready to set up to support. So by the point that these guys are taking down the walls, your army should be kind of in this general area, ready to continue, filtering in units to support the attack. When your army is still sitting all the way back here, then by the time they get up here, this entire first wave attackers is dead. And the attackers are the defenders, are able to basically just overwhelm that whole, that small force with the, extended forces that they have at their disposal early on. The Armored Legionaries should do pretty well against these hoplites. The late Carthaginian hoplites, I wouldn't have brought them. I probably would have stuck with, your Libyan your Libyan infantry and your your Samnite warriors, so on and so forth. It could be that maybe Carthage doesn't have the Caesar or the Hannibal at the Gates DLC. Hannibal at the Gates DLC is a really solid DLC. Not just because you get Lusitani and Eravaki from it, but because a lot of factions get mercenary units from that DLC, including Carthage. Carthage without that DLC is not the greatest. You don't get Samnite warriors, you don't get mercenary Italian swords, you don't get mercenary Iberian swords, you don't get mercenary noble fighters, excuse me. I couldn't think of what they were called, and it just really hurts them quite a bit. So, Hannibal at the Gates DLC, definitely worth getting for multiplayer sieges. Another solid... If you want, honestly, I actually have a breakdown of what I rank the most important to least important DLCs for multiplayer. And that is a video I've got out there. It's really worth the look. There are a lot of DLCs that are misleading, a lot of DLCs that are really only for multiplayer or single-player campaign. They don't even really do anything for multiplayer, which sucks. At least for Grand Campaign. This side chariot has, 40 kills? Yeah, just not great. Royal Peltis wouldn't be a bad one to use it on, but your best friend, there's two things you want to use against side chariots. Javies and shield wall. Try to javy them, and then after your javy toss, hit that shield wall. Basically, almost as soon as you hit shield wall, the effects of shield wall take place. Even if it doesn't look like they take, the actual visual of it may not take place, but the effects do. And so you want to get the Javi toss off to try and get those kills on the side chariots. And then you want to hit that shield wall so that the rest of the side chariots, can't say those really fast, so that the rest of the side chariots aren't able to get a really good charge on you. Yeah, I'm almost positive Carthage doesn't have the Hannibal at the Gates DLC. It's really the only reason I could see him bringing all these late Carthaginian hoplites. I hate to say, guys, for the most part, it's not universally, but for the most part, hoplites in this game are not worth it. They just aren't. One, they are heavily penalized in the fact that they don't have javelins. And javelins in this game, they are king. Units that don't have javelins are highly underpowered in this game. Think about it. With javelins, you have the ability to get free kills right off the bat without even getting in melee combat, right? That is hugely beneficial. It is so good to be able to get kills before even getting into combat. And hoplites, they don't get that. They lose that ability. And so there are good hoplites, don't get me wrong, but they are the minority of this kind of unit. So late Carthaginian hoplites, they just aren't worth it. I like the late African pike play here. you know, at this point in the game, a lot of the archer ammo should be gone. It does look like Egypt has quite a bit, though. 42, 1. So these guys probably have a lot of kills. Or a lot of ammo, excuse me. So realistically, all that's left here is Rome and Egypt. Seleucid is gone, and here comes the pretty healthy Getae here. I hate to say, I think this battle is going to come out to be a bit of a learning battle for, especially the attackers, but even the defenders here. There are definitely things that I think I would suggest doing differently for the defenders, even though they are having a pretty good, you know, game here. I don't think it's primarily due to them doing anything super great. I think it's the fact that, one, the split attack is really, really not a good idea. Very rarely does it work. And then the lack of support from the Roman troops here early on really, really hurt them. But Carthage, if you're watching the battle, I highly suggest the Hannibal at the Gates DLC. It's a game changer, man, for Carthage. If you like Carthage, it is a hugely helpful DLC for you. And then drop the hoplites. You know, you've got some of your Libyan infantry. Bring more of those Libyan infantry. Bring those Samnite warriors. Bring some low-tier units. You know, they're really good scrap units for the early game. For Pontus, some of that gameplay with your chariots, like I said, get them engaged like you did, and then run that chariot right down the line that's engaged. Then the enemy can't really use the good things that they can use to stop you, like javelins or shield wall. When they're engaged, they can't jab at you. They can't shield wall very easily. What's going to happen now is we're going to get those really heavy-hitting, high-tier units from Getae that are probably about to join the battle on this side and get some pretty good kills. They're going to have to, they may take a minute just to get some, get refreshed a little bit. They're pretty tired from that really long, you know, march from the other side of the settlement. Their general is dead, the Noble Sword General, taking quite a bit of losses. He's got 150 kills, though. Rome, once again, same thing as Seleucid on the other side. Don't stop using formation attack. It's hurting you at this point. Because look at this. You have this unit that, you know, look at these guys. They should be getting engaged here, but they're not. Because they're in that formation attack, which is keeping them locked to this formation, and it's hurting them. Got a Scorpion. We saw it earlier. Scorpion up here, 85 kills. This is a beautiful spot for the Scorpion. Just a beautiful angle, and it's raised up so he can kind of shoot up and over the heads of his defending units. The Carthaginian archers must be out of ammo. I'm not a fan of just throwing him into battle like this. I think you should keep your archers that are out of ammo, keep them back in your point or something. It can help float your army losses later in the game if you get desperate. Army losses are triggered when you lose too many men. So by having your healthy out of ammo archers, they can help you kind of extend your battle a little bit longer if you're trying to go for like a, if you know you're not going to win by manpower and you're trying to go with a timed win because you're losing the manpower game, those can kind of float you at the top a little bit longer, so you might be able to pull out that timed win. Rome here is going to be a little bit tough to defeat here. I think in the end they're going to eventually be overwhelmed just by numbers, but I do think that they're eventually going to get overwhelmed by the power of the noble swords. They're going to be tough. They're going to get some kills here, but I don't think it's going to be quite enough. They do have Praetorian Guard coming in too, though. You know, Praetorian Guard is a really good unit. It's a really good unit. They're expensive, but they're really good. Right over here, they're trying to be, Egypt has some Royal Peltas trying to take them on, and they're getting some kills, right? They have 147 kills, but one, that's not on these guys. And two, in the end, they're going to lose this matchup because the Praetorian Guard is a much better unit than Royal Peltas. And I'm stupid because Royal Peltas is the same. I'm dumb. Oy. Royal Peltas is the attacking unit, so they're not fighting the Praetorian Guard anyways. And somebody in the comment section is probably, what are you talking about? Sorry, that's my bad. I don't even know why I was saying that. The Royal Peltas and Praetorian Guard is a really good combo. Royal Peltas have a really high melee attack. Praetorian Guard is just a better overall unit. They also have a really good melee attack. Look at with the use of whip, they've got 74 melee attack. The Noble Swords, healthy, are probably going to beat these guys. Not the Praetorians. Praetorian Guards they're really, really good. Praetorian Guards, they're going to have to really concentrate numbers and firepower. So any ammunition they've got left, the Scorpion ammo if they have any left, stuff like that, they really need to focus on those Praetorian Guards. Got the Egyptian Cavalry, it's useless, don't even bring it. It's a really bad cav unit. There is some openings here though. They've got room to move. The Carthaginian general, yeah, they don't have any cav to counter that other than the Carthaginian general. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Okay, there he is. It's just Banner was way in the back. Yeah, I like this. You may even be able to be more of a nuisance if you came over here. You could come over here and be a nuisance on the cap point or something. But I don't mind getting back here, maybe trying to get in the back lines and being hectic, right? You're maybe not going to do huge amounts here. Rome is going to overpower this. I honestly didn't think Rome was going to have enough. But I'm looking at the numbers here and the balance of power. I think Rome is going to actually pull this off. Armored Legionary is 138. I think that the reinforcements of Getae is not enough. And Getae's general is dead as well, which is going to be a really big problem because that means they're not going to be able to hold out longer. And I think that in the end, they're probably going to break here. Praetorian Guard and Armored Legionaries, I think, are going to pull this out for Rome and Egypt. Egypt still has a little bit of ammunition left. I'm heavy backpedaling. I honestly didn't think that Rome was going to have enough here. I thought the numbers for the defenders were going to be enough to pull this out. And it's just, I don't think so anymore. This is close. Closer than I thought it was going to be. Yeah, I think what's going to happen, I think Carthage is probably going to lose his general here. Carthage is going to break. Getae is going to break. GG, I think the attackers win this battle. Getae 244 on the Noble Swords. The Praetorians now 225 with 2 chevrons. Royal Thorax Swords 120. The other Noble Sword 287. 210. So the Noble Swords have done extremely well. Praetorian Guard 134, 155 on Armored Legionary, Praetorian Guard 283, 288 on the Noble Sword. Bunch of chevrons on these Noble Swords. Yeah. See, on the, they've got units kind of getting in here. Yeah. But I just don't think it's enough. Yeah. Rome, I think, is just going to overpower this. I think that the defenders could have done a little bit better job of kind of supporting and overwhelming what they could early on. The attackers, I definitely think Rome could have done a better job at pushing this and supporting their initial wave. And that's it, man. Wow. I didn't think they had enough, but the Praetorian Guard really pulling it out at the end there. All right, so Getae, the Coochie Monster. 3,000 kills as Getae. He honestly just dominated Seleucid here. Archers did very, very well. 203, and the Noble Swords just racking it up, man. Look at the difference. The Mercenary Axe Warriors really didn't do much at all. The Noble Swords just pulling it out. Hannibalic as Pontus with the 1182. I think right there is the explanation of this defeat. Hoplites, it's just not enough, right? They can't stand up to Rome. They can't stand up to Egypt. It's just that's our problem. Then the other problem is that a lot of money was dedicated to your cavalry and your chariots, and neither of them did anywhere near as what they needed to do. The Pontic Royal Cav underperformed. The chariots, you spent that much money there, they needed to do more than that. I hate to say it, that's the explanation. I think that what I covered in the battle of maybe some things that we needed to do better here, something that I said about Carthage with the hoplites, same thing applies here for Pontus. Ditch them. Bring your Pontic swords, ditch your hoplites. They're not that good. They're not great, especially not as, 5 of them. It's just not what we want to do. Harry, as Carthage here, kind of a similar thing. You got 1550 kills. The Libyan infantry did pretty well. You chevron them, I am almost positive. So they definitely didn't do as good as they should have because of the amount of money that was spent on them. But they were better than your hoplites. Look at the difference. They are more expensive, yes, but the hoplites really didn't do well. Think if you had brought more Libyans, right? The African pikes probably could have done a bit better. We brought 3 pikes, 2 pikes is usually the rule. I guess technically you guys could have done a different rule. I don't know what the rules you did. For the attackers, we've got Jews as Rome here at 2699. I mean, Rome, guys. Is Rome. It's really hard to say much more than that. There's not very many things that can go toe to toe with them, plain and simple. Archers did well, infantry did well. Enough said. We got Seleucid LMTSL with 1744. Really not bad kills, did pretty solid for the most part. The Royal Peltis did pretty good. His archers probably could have done better. The Cav probably could have done better, but not bad. Rob Leach is Egypt with 2412. It's pretty solid. The Royal Thorax both did pretty good. Royal Peltis did pretty solid across the board. Archers, I'm pretty sure they still had a little bit of ammo. 165 on one of them. Thorax swords, not bad. Yeah, pretty solid across the board. I think there were a lot of learning things that could have been taken from this battle. I really hope that, if you guys were watching, that's what you take out of this. That, there's just things that could be tweaked and fixed. And, I hope that you guys know that that's what I try to bring in the channel, is hoping to kind of help people, maybe understand what they could have done better, or maybe units they probably shouldn't bring in to make people a little bit more competitive as a whole. I think the more competitive that we make the entire community, the better experience that people have with the game. So thank you guys so much for joining. Don't forget that if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and we will see you guys next time.